6 o'clock, so I'll call the April 4, 2016 City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnett,
Present.
Mr. Austin, Mr. Abbott,
Here.
Mr. Alt,
Here.
Mr. Agers,
Here.
Mr. Fox.
Here.
Mr. Woods.
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Invocation and pledge, if you would, please, Mr. Works.
If you bow your head, Father, be with this city as we do the work that makes us a great place to be. Be with our city employees. Be with our military as they scatter around the world and protect us and allow us the freedoms. Be with our fire department and our police as they protect our city and our first responders on many of the activities. Allow us to make good decisions to the work of this city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So tonight, under announcements, presentations, and public comments, we have the honor of swearing in our newest firefighter. This time I'll ask Chief names. Benjamin? Yes. Absolutely. Do you have any family that's here that would like to come up with you? Might create a family feud, sorry. Yeah. So if you wouldn't mind just standing right over there. I'll try to chop it down so it's difficult. If you would, please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Ben Patterson,
Have been appointed to the office
have been appointed to the office
of firefighter in the city of Franklin.
of firefighter at the city of Franklin.
I swear that I will support the Constitution
I swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the state of Indiana
and the Constitution of the state of Indiana
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
of the Franklin Fire Department.
of the Franklin Fire Department.
That I will obey all the lawful orders
I will obey all the lawful orders
of my superior officers
of my superior officers
and faithfully discharge the duties
and faithfully discharge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All right. Any other announcements, presentations, public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve minutes from March 21st.
Second. Motion by Barnett, second by Eggers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have no old business. An easy calendar tonight. New business.
Make a motion to read both items by title only.
Second. Motion by Barnett, second by Eggers. All those in favor?
Aye.
First item is Common Council Ordinance 1606, an ordinance regulating traffic, vehicles, streets, sidewalks, and public places. Myers?
Good evening. Before you this evening for introduction is an ordinance for traffic, vehicles, streets, sidewalks, and public places. What this ordinance is actually repealing all of our existing ordinances relating to these items and replacing them in their entirety. This is for a number of reasons, as enforcement is going on with the police department and also as city attorney takes things forward to city council. This will allow us to have one cohesive ordinance document that they can then enforce. After it's adopted, it'll be in effect 30 days after that, and then forwarded for codification into our municipal code. In the marked up section that you have seen, at the bottom there are references to all of the sections of our current municipal code. If you notice, there are some that are in chapter 10 and there are some that are in chapter 12. when we forward this on, should it be adopted, we are going to request that they all be codified under one chapter, which will also help in the public being able to identify the enforcement actions that go with those specific items. Just to highlight a couple of things of what this document is proposing, is clarifying a number of the definitions, and then also clarifies the traffic and parking schedules that will be forwarded to the Board of Works when deemed necessary. At the next Board of Works meeting, there is a traffic schedule that is proposed to go forward at that time, or, I'm sorry, the meeting in May, so that's being forwarded to them. What you also noticed in this section is the truck weight limits. What I did want to note is this is exactly the same language that we currently have on the books. So none of that is being suggested to be changed or modified. It just helps with keeping one cohesive document. Also, the other changes were either due to duplicated information or conflicting regulations within the ordinances or within the zoning ordinance with the municipal code. It also is addressing parking time limits. Currently, there are two sections. One that states that parking is identified by the signs posted, and then there is another section that currently says that in a specific area downtown, it's from this time to this time and this for this many hours. What we're proposing is to remove that section and just to make it that the parking time limits is based on the signs posted. That way, in the future, should there be changes that are made, it doesn't necessarily have to go through a full ordinance revision. It would be as the Board of Works deems necessary. Then it also clarifies the enforcement section, which outlines ticketing, and then any tickets not paid is forwarded to city court for prosecution. The pay in lieu fee, which is proposed to be $25, or is to be $20 for any 5 fines that are $25. So you get a $5 discount if you pay it early. However, any of the fines that are over that, like the truck weight, it would remain at the $250. And then also went through and clarified the fine amounts, making sure that every violation that is proposed in the ordinance has a fine associated with it. And there were some that there were fines, but there was actually no section of violation. So, if you have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, if I may add before the council, Joanna and I tried to combine everything that you have in there. We've done a couple of things. The last time the city paid for an entity to codify the ordinances, for some reason that is still mind-boggling to me, they codified our repealed ordinances as well. And so if any citizen of the public were looking to see what the ordinances were, it would be very confusing because we would repeal them and then replace them. And so I think Joanne, I speak for us, we were trying to get one document to put as many things as we possibly could. We also weren't feeling like it was our place to make wholesale policy changes. And that is really for you as elected officials if you have questions. So we weren't trying to make drastic changes to what was in existence. That's why you have the red line version of what we currently have. We were more concerned with maybe putting them all in one place, and then we welcome your discussions or your suggestions as the elected officials. There were a couple of places where you had made your opinions known that Joanne and I tried to amplify. For instance, Councilman Alt at one of the meetings, you had indicated the skateboarders were riding on our park benches and things, and so you will see that there's some additional language that Joanne and I suggested would be put in there, but
I noticed that.
that on page 13 was specific to that comment. So there were a couple of things we added, but just for purposes of clarification, council members, we didn't feel it was our place to make wholesale policy changes. That would be your decision. So if you think there's something, we welcome your input as staff. We were trying to make it a little more user-friendly, and certainly from an enforcement standpoint, such as the parking ticket things. We've had citizens, once we got done with our downtown improvements, wanting us to start enforcing those, and we thought we had addressed that with the signs. I think to expect a citizen to know what the ordinance says without posted is probably not practical. And so Joanna, I thought that perhaps just going with whatever's posted as a sign made a lot more sense for people. So with that, we are certainly open to anything we think we need to address more or less. But we weren't trying to overhaul the policy, we're just trying to coordinate as much as we can.
I've been through 3 or 4 of these, and it always seems like after that, we would reap the rewards of the new ordinance at the Board of Works meetings, because we had a lot of complaints coming in. And when I reviewed this one, it looked pretty good to me. I didn't see any openly bad things that the Board of Works would have to deal with, so, like trailers hanging from trees.
Yeah, we had that discussion as well. Now, we do have, obviously zoning ordinances as well. And so there are other areas of enforcement that exist for zoning violations and things. So we didn't try to duplicate, we had it available, we weren't trying to create more regulation, just trying to codify. So there are other types of regulations that the city could utilize if you know, the boat hanging from a tree perhaps. But this was more designed to codify the other ordinances that were in the form of enforcement, traffic, vehicles, and this kind of thing.
That's what you guys did a good job.
Thank you.
I have one question of clarification. On the truck routes, is Hurricane a designated truck route for the semis? I couldn't find it there. And I know we're doing a better job of enforcing the semis that are driving through town, but up on Hurricane, the Legends West and Heather Glen people have commented that there's a lot of semi-traffic using that route now versus the bypass and up Commerce.
If I may, I don't know if you was at our Board of Works meeting, we had a discussion about the truck route tonight, the better signage. And Travis, I think at that intersection, you probably put the sign that tells them straight ahead what he's talking about.
I think he's more commenting on people that are coming into the city down Hurricane from the north,
Coming from the north, okay.
which is gonna get worse next week for a while because Graham and Whitewood is gonna be closed. But there will be better signage at the intersection when they get there, so they know better which way they should be going. I think Ms. Myers has found the map, but if I recall, Hurricane is a local delivery road, is it not?
Well, Hurricane from Earlywood is outside the city's jurisdiction. I was just looking to see. We do have Hurricane as destination for the local from Arvin to Hamilton, both ways. So it is for local routes, but it's not for through trucks.
And we're getting, that particular is getting a lot of traffic. I think it's coming off of Whiteland and coming down that way into Franklin.
It's a through route for Arvin to Commerce to Hurricane Road.
But anyway, those people are commenting there's a lot more semi-traffic on that section.
And I also did want to note that this document was a cohesive effort with legal counsel, the planning and engineering department, and the police department.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Let's do the introductions, so we'll be back in front of you all. Next up move is Common Council Ordinance 1607, an ordinance amending Ordinance 2010-03, regulating the placement, collection, and disposal of garbage, trash, refuse, yard waste, white goods, and heavy trash within the city of Franklin.
Good evening. This is a minor modification to our existing ordinance with all the current upgrades to downtown. I know that a number of you have noticed that there are, on more occasions than it should be, where trash bags are ending up on the curb along Jefferson Street. in looking at our current language, there was some slight modification that we needed to make regarding single-family residential units. So this is what this is addressing, that we're creating or proposing to create another, I guess, level of defining dwelling. And what that would be an accessory dwelling, which is basically a dwelling unit on the second floor of the downtown corridor. This would not apply to any single-family residential units that are on that core, because we also then added the single-family dwelling to kind of modify that. So we added those two definitions as proposed, and then to make a modification to the residential limitations, where the city of Franklin does pick up all single-family residential garbage and also two-family. And then in this, there is the added language that in no instance shall waste collection be afforded to accessory dwellings, multifamily dwellings, commercial, institutional, or industrial uses. Any of those would have to contract independently with the trash service to pick up their trash. If they are located on Jefferson Street, they are generally given a toter from those that they contract with. So that should help us get the trash bag off the street.
I'm sure all your comment about generating Board of Works comments, this would make it.
I'm sure it will. Especially down here.
Any questions, comments? Again, this is introduction only, but
Thank you.
thank you.
It's a good thing they only hung you out to draw out one of them.
Mr. Patterson, to your guest, I'm sorry, this has been a very short meeting. This isn't normally what we just deal with is trash, but that's not what the city of Franklin's all about. But that's just what happens to be on the agenda for this evening, so. We have nothing else. Any council member comments?
I have run some numbers on tree removal, if anyone wants to hear.
Sure.
I looked into renting some equipment, and all these numbers are just based on the quote that I got back and some arbitrary numbers that I thought sounded relatively intelligent. Whether it's accurate or not, I have no idea. Because I looked at what it costs to cut down trees, or pay people to cut down trees, because that's not my line of work. But I kind of based it on, we've got like 150 trees to take out of the cemetery in the Commons Park, and I don't know how many else elsewhere. But I kind of broke it down into 50 tree lots, just for ease of figuring, because I kind of figured that 50 trees a month would probably be a pretty close, that works out to be about 1.6 trees a day. And we can rent equipment to do the job, I think. We can rent a 80-foot teleboom, which is a four-wheel drive man lift, a 12-inch chipper tow behind. We've already got those, so we may not need to rent one of those. And a log splitter in case we want to split wood and then resell. And then I based this on 3 part-time employees or temporary employees at $25 per hour. I figured about $2,000 per month in fuel, about $1,500 in chainsaws. And I threw in another $5,000 for miscellaneous expenses for like fall gear for the guys in hand, because it's required that they have that. And that all worked out to be about $27,400 a month for 50 trees. And based on stuff that I've heard, at $2,500 a tree, 50 trees would be $125,000 for 50 trees for 30 days worth of trees, based on my numbers. So that's a savings of about $97,600 for 50 trees. And even if we cut the $2,500 per tree that I use down to $2,000, that's still $100,000, 50 trees. And we're still saving close to 1/5 of what 50 trees we cut down. So that would leave us plenty of money to insure the guys, assuming we could find them, and insure the city against any damage that might be caused from falling trees. But by them being in the park and cemetery, there shouldn't be too many dwellings around them or people around them while this work is going on, so
We have 2 less trees to worry about now.
I figured that. So my numbers are askew already. But at the very least, I've guessed on these numbers, and it looks like we could save quite a bit of money. And I think it would deserve us looking into it at least prior to signing any contracts with a tree company. And I've got the quotes here for the equipment. The bandwidth is $3,000 a month. The chipper's $3,000 a month. The log splitter's $600 a month. And we could recoup money on reselling that wood. I don't know, that would be up to legal to figure that one out, I suppose. I'm not quite sure how we would do it, but although we could maybe just make it free for our citizens to use.
Is the concept that these would be seasonal employees, so as
Yes.
to not be triggering things such as
Yes,
retirement?
correct.
Joe just mentioned, most tree cutter is a pretty skilled position. Most of them have training through the state and they are certified.
That's correct.
And
That's why I said, if we can find it.
I don't think, I think that to get a good skilled person is gonna be a lot more than $25 an hour.
Well, we've got probably close to
You've got
$5,000 for 50 trees to up their 40-hour weeks. So.
And the workers' comp's high on, it's one of the highest work comp costs for timber cutters.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I like your concept, the idea.
Have you talked to anybody that's interested? I know you know a lot of people.
No, I'm not going to go that far. I needed some direction from the council before I went that far, because I certainly can't offer employment.
No, I just wondered if you talked to anybody that could be interested, because it looks like to me it'd be hard to find somebody skilled.
That might be.
Yeah. I like the thought of it, saving money is always good.
My suggestion would be to go to a head hunter. Employment agents.
Do the economies of scale kick in if you had hired a tree company because they've got so many of them? Do you have any sense about that?
I don't understand the question.
I mean, if you went to a tree company and said, look, we're gonna give you 150 of them, so therefore it's gonna be $750 a tree or something. Did they work that way at all, do you know?
Well, it's a competitive business. Just like mine, when I go out, or when someone comes to me for a quoting job, I have other companies that I'm quoting against. So, they would be held to the same standards as that. But I don't know how much leeway they've got. As Mr. Works has said, their employees are well-paid employees because they have to be trained. The insurance is high, so like a tool and die maker that I hire, those guys are highly trained and skilled. That's called a skilled labor job. So I'm sure that they have quite the expense to do that. That's why it costs $2,500, $3,000 to take a tree down. And I'm sure their insurance rates are high. But I don't know that we can find the individuals, but I think it deserves a look at to see if we can.
I don't know what direction to give you. I like the idea, but I don't know where to tell you to go look until you find a person that says, hey, I'm willing to do this. I mean, that'd be the hard part. Cut the tree down is with the bucket and not falling over on the headstones, and
Yeah.
there has to be some kind of skill there to,
Yes, you bet.
so.
Especially in the cemetery, we can expect some damage. I don't care who's doing it. We're gonna have to expect some damage because those headstones are just too close together.
So, because I know that Chip was getting some feelers out there, let me communicate with him, and then either one of us will be in contact with you in the next couple of days. See where his direction's been. I've been kind of off the grid for a week, so.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate it. Any other comments? Hearing none, looking for a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
By Hager, second by Fox, all those in favor?
Aye.